Hello and welcome to Right Now. COVID is morphing into climate change. No one saw that coming. When the entirety of the mainstream media and politicians from both sides of the invisible divide take the same line on a particular subject, I'm instantly suspicious. The script's been handed out to both sides and they're merely earning their 30 pieces of silver. Some work harder for their loot, of course, and some would probably do it for free, to be honest. Idiot or psychopath, that's quite a good game to play with your family when the news at 10 comes on, because whoever fills your television screen will either be one or the other. The current fetish of the media, when they're not telling us that we're all gonna die from climate change, is to tell disconcertingly vague stories about anti-vaxxers that died of COVID while screaming how they wish they'd got the vaccine. Always within earshot of a Guardian journalist, of course. All the while, these tales are filling the column inches. The number of people dying on the other side of the needle are being underreported or just flat out ignored. If you can't win an argument, well, just don't have it.
Is there any bigger peddler of fear than the media, especially right now in regards to every angle that you can imagine that you could be hit with? I mean, people say, you know, in regards to our modern times, how does it differ from, say, like the 70s or 80s? Well, there's a meme that goes about where it says in the 80s, there's, you know, the picture of the old phone taken off the hook. That's how you used to be able to just close it off, you know, close people off if you wanted to. You could switch the TV off, take the telephone off the hook. But now everyone's got this bloody device in their pocket. Everybody's got the smartphone. And it's a reach away from, you know, being plugged into the fear. And I mean, look, when I mentioned the media, their job is to get people's attention, Gareth, isn't it? That's ultimately what they're all about, is to get people's attention. And what they've noticed, particularly recently with our current situation, is there any bigger attention grabber than fear? Of course there ain't. Panic this, variant that, new this, new that. It's an attention grabber, and
we can't be ruled by fear. We can't make decisions out of fear. We need to connect more to love, unity, consciousness, and all these things that help us to thrive, help us to feel blissful, help us to feel energetically strong and like we're thriving. Then that stuff can't touch us. If we put all our attention on the things that could potentially harm us, then we're really ignoring all the things that naturally hold the upper hand and have the override frequency. We have an override frequency over all these dark technologies that are manipulating our minds and our nervous systems with frequencies that are very undesirable. So if we can embody something within ourselves that can counteract it, then we are becoming senior to these lower forces and we begin to move into higher earth energies. And we starve this system, the parasitic forces and the beast kind of thing. So if we could just see these distractions as reminders to what this is all about, then we won't be captured in the next wave of the nets and its tactics and how it's manipulated the planetary grid network, and how, you know, the sky is being sprayed and how that all links into what we've been inhaling and consuming with our contaminated food and water. If we can raise our frequency beyond the divide and conquer strategies and the different narratives that keep us in a very toxic, low vibration, all pit against each other, and sort of in disarray and not able to have healthy relationships, that to me is the key to overcome, to have the rest fall into place, to begin to transmute. If it was enough to just use weapons on us, they wouldn't bother with the mind control or the social engineering or the divide and conquer tactics or the censorship.
The following day, I get up early, 5:30. I get to the line for the rally, for Trump's rally. And it was beautiful. The line was massive before the sun was even out. And I felt like 1 million people. I heard people saying there was like 1 million to 2 million people, and it felt like that. We were all just crammed. Like, I remember thinking if anyone had to use the restroom right now, they would be out of luck. I just remember looking around, being stuck in the middle of a sea of brothers and sisters. So anyway, Trump comes up after 6 hours of us, you know, hearing everybody else, and then he's an hour late. And that was already a weird red flag for later on as I look back. And so Trump comes on, and oddly, I felt nothing from him. It was just, in retrospect is when it makes sense. So anyway, he had extra bulletproof protection there as well. That's one thing I noticed. So anyway, hour goes by, Trump is done. He tells us all to go to the Capitol. So we all go to the Capitol. It takes about 45 minutes to get there. When you start looking at the timestamps of when the Capitol was infiltrated, it does not make sense that it would have been a Trump supporter or a group of Trump supporters, because they were listening to Trump.
Right.
He was an hour late, and I wonder if that had something to do with it to later on eventually prove that. Who knows? But once I'm on the lawn, I hear everyone saying, Pence didn't side with us. Pence didn't side with us. And then I look up and I see that everyone was going up the Capitol.
I went to Ireland to speak. I got invited to Dublin to speak out on September 12th of last year. And it was really bad because I went there to tell everybody about the 5 stages of lockdown and to let them know they were going to get locked down on the 20th. And a lot of people didn't want to believe it. So I stayed to the 20th until they got locked down. And then I tried to fly home. When I got to the airport, I couldn't even get on the plane because there was an electronic block on my passport. KLM Airlines couldn't tell me what it was. It kept crashing their computers. Literally every time they tried to scan my passport, the computer would crash like a scene out of a movie. And they tried multiple computers, and it was only about 4:30 in the morning because my flight was at 6:30. So they said we had to wait till the tech guys came in at 5. 5 a.m., the first tech guy came and he couldn't figure it out. 5:30, another guy came in, the head tech guy, and they found embedded on the passport 2 electronic blocks. And they wouldn't tell me who put the blocks on, but they did tell me that they're illegal and they couldn't stop me from going back to the country. So they had to remove them. And they did tell me what the blocks said. The first block said anti-masker, just a little thing in there. And the second one said put for extra security. So they wanted to give me a hard time, and they wanted to stop me just from getting home after warning everybody what happened. But I made it home.
And we just have to appeal to that reason of people that maybe they have had the vax already or whatever, but they understand what it means to mandate this. They understand that this is the yellow stars of our modern era, you know. And as a Jew, it's kind of like, wow, I can't believe this. We're doing this now. Like, I'm literally going to have to prove my status. And it's kind of, and it's interesting that, you know, it's interesting that Israel is one of the most heavily vaccinated countries. And, you know, children haven't been able to matriculate high school if they didn't get vaxxed and all that sort of thing. So that's an interesting thing in itself. But the yellow stars thing and just the segregation, and I read a meme the other day. I love a good meme. It was something like, you know, remember when we started segregating people that hadn't had the flu shot? Yeah, me neither. And it's like, yeah, right, okay. This is it. And we need to call to arms those people that are not like us. They, you know, they're not anti-vaxxers. They're not any of that sort of thing, but they're freedom fighters because they understand that this is the start of totalitarian rule. And if you don't recognize it, I had a friend say the other day, oh, but it's a public health issue. And I'm like, I don't care if it's a public health issue. I don't care. You don't have a right to do this to a person. I don't want your whatever's in it, whether it's a placebo or mRNA. I don't care if it's gene therapy. I don't care what's in it or what's not in it. I don't want it. And I should have a right to say no and not have a restricted life because of it.
Yeah, this is a powerful, powerful window period for human advancement, to really understand what the bigger picture is all about related to ascension, disclosure, and what it really means, though, for us as individuals. It's an awakening process that we all have to undertake. And these challenges are a part of the process of the Great Awakening. So they're trying to sabotage it, and in sabotaging it, they gain greater control. So, you know, Mockingbird media, the false news, the false narratives, the indoctrination in certain colleges and universities and the school systems growing up, ancestral patterns, reliving traumas from previous time cycles, all these different things get lit up in these trigger events that are pushing fear and dependency. And this is a time where we should be breaking out of that and not falling for this. So it's very disturbing to see how many people are like, oh, okay, we'll do whatever we're told. We'll be obedient. We'll listen to authority. We'll give our power away. We'll put stuff in our body that we don't fully know what it is and what it's going to do. And we'll, that's a huge portion of the population. And just the whole ritual of like the masks, and just the censorship. It's to absolutely reverse what is available and what is here, that we need to not get distracted by this other stuff, because what's here is the potential to really truly transform. We've had conjunctions with Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter all of last year, and that really represents an opportunity for humanity to transform, to awaken, to sort of rise like the phoenix out of all these dark cycles of dark history, and to kind of emerge as a butterfly. And instead, we're dealing with false narratives that are taking people in the opposite direction.
The charges that I have on me, because I do have charges on me, and I'm still in the whole battle in the court. If I hadn't filmed this, I would be stuck in jail right now.
Really?
So I turn around, and there were about 12 police officers that looked like security guards. The whole entire time there wasn't a real presence of authority. It felt like the people that were there looked scared out of their minds. And I filmed them, and I don't doubt them for being scared, but if later on the real force came and then everything changed. So there's about 12 of them in front of a door, and they're slowly backing up because people were there and they just wanted to make sure that they could protect, I guess, the center entrance. In doing so, they left this stairway to a door open. And I turn around, the door is already open, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going in. There's a door that's open. And I film it, the whole entire thing. I turn to the side of the door while I'm in, and I see about 3 cops or security guards, whatever you want to call them. And people were saying to them, "You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. Thank you."
You go into the doctors if you can get a place nowadays.
Yeah, good luck.
And good luck. And you go into the doctors, and the issue that, I'm not a medical professional, but the issue I'm sure a doctor has is that anything can be linked to stress. Anything can be linked to anxiety. Anything. And when you actually judge it like that, engage it like that, it gives you an indication of just how powerful these things are: stress, anxiety. And when you add it into the mix of a daily fear-mongering from the media that's just piling it on top of you every day. We had the deaths, and now we've got the cases, and now we've got this chart, and we've got this, and we've got this. And of course, I wouldn't discount restrictions and things coming back towards the autumn and the winter. If you look at what's happening across the world, Gareth, it's quite amazing, isn't it? How you can be literally across in another country like France and be getting checked for your passport to have a coffee outside. And then, I don't think, it can be naive to think that certainly as the weather begins to change, although you tell me where the summer's at, Gary, I ain't seen much of it. I don't know about you. But, when that weather starts to, again, decline, when we start to talk seasonality and things like that, when we start to talk of usual stuff like flu, restrictions coming back, what we're seeing in the likes of France, Australia. I know it's the other side of the world, but you're hearing reports of people wanting to go outside for a walk, and they're getting arrested because they may be going outside a little bit too far or a little bit too long.
Just like they did in France, they brought the vaccine passport out. They brought it out in Quebec, Canada, which is our French province, and it's the neighboring province to the east of me. And they brought it out and said that they're going to have it in September, and it's going to be for all non-essential activities, which means if you don't have the jab or you don't have a negative COVID test, you can't go to the gym, you can't go to a restaurant, you can't go to a concert, you can't go to the grocery store. You basically can't do anything. While the government preaches to you how they're giving you the choice of being vaccinated or not. A choice means there's no consequences. Not if you don't take this, you can't be part of society. So that's what they're trying to do to force it on us. And if you saw in France just the other day, they had police walking around the patios while people are trying to eat their lunch and checking their electronic papers, like Nazi Germany 2021, but now in France and Canada. So on Saturday, August 14th, I'm going there. And I hope there's hundreds of thousands of people, just like there were on May 1st. And we're going to go through the city, and we're going to make sure that every single person rejects this vaccine passport. If it's an electronic one, you delete it. If they give you a real one, you burn it. You say no to the vaccine. Any business that tries to enforce vaccination policy, you boycott it. It's that simple. We cannot let this has to be our line in the sand. All jokes aside, I've been warning about this for about 2 years, and people called me a crazy conspiracy theorist. Then when the vaccine passport became a reality, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist if you don't support it. There's no reason to support the vaccine passport. It is nothing but the nullification of your rights and freedoms that millions of people fought and died for. That's all it is. Everybody has freedom of choice. That's what makes society work. There is no such thing as society without freedom of choice, period.